Greetings. This video is not a teaching, this is more a walkthrough, talk through, me asking you questions from both sides of the argument. Third argument, depending how you look at it. Now all this thing about this model, sunrise, sunset, etc. I'm still up here at the moment. But finally I'm seeing some things down here that I've not saw so many before. Right? So basically I want to ask you some questions. I want to run through a few things, what things seem to work, don't work, and then get some input hopefully. Because I'm still researching it all out. Now Double J, your last video I appreciate and I thank you for it because you corrected the mistakes that I kept harping on about. Well, you did the top chart wrong and you corrected that, and I appreciate that. And also, as you said, you gave it a fair shake and you made it good, right? And it was good, right? But you made some points that they were good points basically. They got me looking again. Okay, all the videos before I was just no, but the last one you did, there were some points that made sense. So I've been doing a lot of research, looking online as you do, looking in the scriptures, trying to find the answers. Because the problem is a lot of script. What I find strange is this goes across the board, everybody. What I find strange is the proof texts that we would pick to, let's say, support this are quite often the proof texts that these people would pick to support their view. It's weird, and there's a lot of texts that seem to fit both. So it's not that simple. And like I said, I'm here at the moment still. Will it go there? Well, I might do in the future. I don't know. Wherever the evidence leads. And if I do, would it be 24 or 12 hour? I don't know. But I'm seeing things from both sides, as I have been doing from day one, really. Now, when people use the argument, and there was evening, and there was morning, day one, I don't think it's easy to use that as an argument. The reason being, you can use it on here, you can say, we had morning, so you got the day, and then there was evening, so you got the night period, and then there was morning, day one, right? That works, so then you do it again. Evening, morning, day one or day two. That works fine. It also works up here though. You know, you do creating whatever, right? And then you can look at it and say go back, then there's evening. And there's morning, day one. There's evening. And the morning, day two. And you might say, well, I go back. Well, it's when you read the text, it's in Hebrew, Yahi, Areb, Yahi, Boker. You know, like I said, and there was evening, and there was morning. Some translations say, so there was evening and morning. Let's check something. So computer's on. Yeah, and some say, and there is an evening, and there is a morning, day one. So you go, and there is an evening, and there is a morning, day one. Or, and there is an evening, and there is a morning, day one. Everyone understands it differently. If you're on here, you're going to use that scripture and go, oh yeah, there you go. And if you're up here, you're going to use the same scripture and go, oh yeah, there you go. It's not that simple. People down here, you often say, well, the scriptures always say day and night, day and night, day and night. So you say that's basically a way of showing the order. It does say day and night quite often, but there's many scriptures that say night and day, night and day, night and day. Yeah. There's more that say day and night, granted, but there's still an awful lot that say day and night. So I don't think that can be used to really show an order either. That's one issue. I look at it and it's like, well, what is it? Okay, because it can be seen several different ways. And every time people down here, you say, you know, you quote the scriptures that basically say tomorrow the next day on the morning. So you go, okay, tomorrow the next day in the morning. That fits fine. That makes more sense in one sense because you can have next day 12, next day 24, right? But up here you can still say tomorrow or the next day, as in, you know, on the morning. It still sort of fits, but this one fits more in the sense of when the day finishes because the sun goes down and it finishes a 12-hour day and it finishes a 24-hour day. Whereas this one, when the sun comes up, it starts a 12-hour day and starts a 24-hour day. So they sort of both make sense more. Different depending how you look at it. Another issue. I couldn't quite fit a fifth one on, but you get the idea. This isn't exactly a nice presentation. I didn't do it neat because this is just me studying it. I just scribbled it on basically. But I've been looking at some of the gospel accounts. Now the argument down here is So when they wanted to take the body off the cross because the Sabbath was dawning, they say it wasn't basically evening like we would say it's there. You'd say basically it's in the morning, but they wanted to get off ready for the morning Sabbath. That's the argument that I'm seeing from people down here. I'm not convinced it took all night to prepare the body, like spices and all the business. It might have took all night, maybe, I don't know. I'm not convinced it would have took all the night to do the body ready for the, that Sabbath. It could have done, I don't know. I still think here you got probably up to 3 hours to faff about preparing it ready for the Sabbath. Could be, don't know. The thing is, when you use this argument, let's say you got all this time to sort them out. Well, this is a high Sabbath, and people on this down here swear blind that the high Sabbath is evening to evening, like this, which would mean that the high Sabbath would work like this, which would mean basically you got your end of your preparation day. You want to get the body down before it gets night, but then you still only have like a couple of hours to observe evening to evening. Okay, so that's another issue. That's not been brought up yet, I don't think. Also, the fact that when the Torah says about getting the bodies down, it doesn't really mention the Sabbath. It's just a case of getting them down before it's dark, or so they don't have to stay through the night. Excuse me. Anyway, that's another thing. Okay. Now, when it comes to the 3 days and 3 nights, some people and some sources go, and some scriptures actually go after 3 days and 3 nights, and others go on the 3rd day he gets resurrected. So then it's a case of, well, which is it? Is it after or is it on? Well, if you go here, let's just say he was buried before sunset. You go night, day, night, day, night, day. So 1, 2, 3. So you've got 3 days, 3 nights. And then you've got an after period. I don't know, 6 hours or something. Probably rose 12 o'clock midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that on a Sunday, before it gets light. So you've got the night, day, night, day, night, day. It's actually 3 days and 3 nights plus 24-hour days, and it's after. On the bottom one, you kind of got the same thing. Night, day, night, day, night, day, then the after period. Okay? So you've got night, 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 day, 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 and a bit after. Right, so it's after 3 days, 3 nights. But you've also got 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd day, if you understand that to mean the night period. So this one fits on the 3rd day, as long as we mean night period, and the after. So that sort of fits better a little bit. That's what this big Vav is. It just means resurrection. I've just drawn it there. My voice is a bit funny. Anyway. The Messiah was a wave sheaf offering, as it said. Now, I don't believe the resurrection was necessarily the wave sheaf offering. I think it was more a case of when he says, don't touch me, I've not ascended to my Father yet. When he went up to heaven, that was like, hello, he sort of waved, if you like, and then he come back down later on. Right. So with this one, you'd have your 3 days, and then on Sunday, because it says in the Torah about the day after the Sabbath, you do the wave sheaf somewhere here, outside the board. And here, you've got the after, and you're on your Sunday still, so you just wait till the day period. They both work there again. So they all work. I keep on about sunset, sunrise. Somebody mentioned to me that when you read the Torah, it basically says, and there was evening and there was morning, not necessarily sunset and sunrise. That's a good point. But at the same token, I understand evening to mean the last hour free up to sunset, and morning being, I don't know, an hour or so before sunrise. So there's a wiggle room anyway. But my question is, to anybody, whichever side you're on, where's the demarcation points? Because I tend to think of the globe of the sun going up or down. If it's not that rigid, then you can read the scriptures different ways. And one that I've always found a bit of a hang-up, that I can only seem to fit the top one, that again the people on the bottom use it for their proof as well, is John 20, verse 1 and 19. Because on this model, right, it's this Sabbath, but let's just say it here because I'm close, it's easier. You could say, okay, after the Sabbath ended, early in the morning, while it's still dark, they came to the tomb, right? So you say first day of the week, whilst it's still dark. So by your reckoning up under there, once it hits sunrise, it would be the second day of the week. And yet you read later in the text, it says later that day at evening on the first day of the week. So that would fit only this. It wouldn't fit that at all. So my question is, how can it fit this model? Someone showed me it can fit as long as you bend the globe rise, so it's not necessarily then. So sunrise isn't necessarily when you can see the sun, it can be a good while before, as long as there's much light in the air. if that's the case, fair enough, you can probably look at the Good News accounts. You know, these, if you remember me doing these, with a different way of understanding it, which I'm trying to do. I'm trying to see both ways of looking at it now. If that's the case, again, where's the line? How much light do you consider it to be? You know, I don't know. That's an issue to me. Where do you put it? Because we can't bend things. We need to find out where it is. So I'm asking you that basically. Because if you just mean it when the light's rising, there's enough light to sort of be day, then yeah, it can fit the bottom one. One scripture, only one. Well, there's a few others, but predominantly Exodus 16 through to 23. That's a good one. I cannot get it to fit this model. I can't get it to fit. I'm being honest. I can only see it fit in this one. Right. Don't mean I'm going to jump yet because there's lots to cover, but I can only see it fit in this one at the moment. So that's a good scripture to point out. Yeah, this morning I got up early. My little phone app, it sort of says basically that the sun would rise, the globe if you like, at 2 minutes past 7, roughly where I live. So I got up early and I started taking some pictures. So this first one here, this is 20 past 6 in the morning, okay? So we've got a good while yet before the sun is supposed to come up. It's dark. You could interpret it as being dim because people are arguing which particular word to use based on interpretation of the the texts. Okay. This next picture I took at 25 past 6. It's not as blue as it looks. Not in reality. It's just the way the camera come out. But it was roughly like that, a bit more grey. This next picture was taken at 6:30. Okay. These next few were taken at 6:45, and I thought it'd be fun to take a picture of an aeroplane at 6:50 because I just liked the way the sun reflected off it. I thought it looked kind of pretty. Okay. Now these last two pictures were taken at 7:02, the time when the sun should be coming up, but it was a bit cloudy as you can see. Okay, so this is my little experiment. It does seem that you could consider it a day before the sun comes up, right, based on this experiment. And there's a very quick video, I'll just show you now. Okay, it's 6:45 in the morning. According to my astronomical thingy-mabob, the sun is supposed to rise somewhere there at 2 minutes past 7. So it looks fairly day-like, sort of. Right, okay then, so these are basically my questions, okay? I've already asked a question, I'm not going to go over them again. I've asked a bunch. But if you have any answers, I'd like to know. Don't matter what side of the camp you're on, again, I'm here at the moment. In the future, will it be there? I might do, I don't know. I'm just after whatever the truth is. Right? I mentioned Josephus and all the rest of it. I didn't realise the historical record wasn't quite as concise and fixed as I thought it was, because there's a lot suggesting this as well. So like I said, I'm looking into it more. If you can help me, help me. I know if you're on this side you're going to go, oh, if you go on this side you're going to deceive yourself. I know if you're on this side you're going to go, come over. That's how we are as believers, I get it. Alright, that's it, just whatever. Alright.